Hello and welcome to our video on epidemiologic concepts, cluster mapping and infectious disease surveillance. The goals of this presentation are to help you do the following. 1. Understand the origins of cluster mapping and infectious disease surveillance. 2. Understand the specific techniques of cluster mapping. And 3. Understand how the technique of cluster mapping is extremely useful in today's public health investigations of the ultimate control for outbreaks of infectious disease. The technique of cluster mapping involves using various descriptive methods to display geographical trends in data relative to infectious diseases. These types of data include specific cases for a disease, as well as the prevalence and/or incidence of these cases. This slide illustrates a type of cluster mapping highlighting the cumulative incidence of a specific infectious disease. As you can see in this figure, the larger the circle, the more cases of this disease are in a selected geographical area. This slide illustrates a slightly different interpretation of cluster mapping specific to COVID-19. In the figure on this slide, the darker the color, not the size of the circle as in the previous page, indicates a higher risk for COVID-19 in a specific area of the United States. The origins of cluster mapping in surveillance epidemiology are often traced back to an English physician named John Snow. Dr. Snow was the first known example of an infectious disease investigator linking the environment to infectious disease and representing this pictorially by using varying sizes of rectangles to display the amount and location of cases for an infectious disease known as cholera. Although the basic techniques of cluster mapping have remained the same, i.e. geographical display of infectious disease cases as a function of amount and location of infection, modern-day computerized approaches of cluster mapping have changed the way we see relationships in surveilled parameters for infectious disease. More frequent computerized displays are noted by darker shading of colors, representing increased intensity or frequencies for a given infectious disease parameter, such as incidence, mortality, prevalence, and risk. Public health and clinical professions are utilizing these displayed geographical trends in infectious disease in helping to sustain efforts to understand and control spread and risk of infection across at-risk populations. This concluding slide restates the three stated objectives for this presentation. These objectives involve understanding the specific technique of cluster mapping, the history of cluster mapping, and the continued relevance of cluster mapping as a useful investigative adjunct to exploring infectious disease. Thank you for watching and have a great day.